Greetings, my glorious Adeptus Custodes. Today I will tell you the truth. And it is, alas, not the truth that every corner of the Imperium knows, for our dark past is full of bitterness and suffering. Many of you wonder how I know so much about the universe. Why do secrets hidden from even the most loyal servants of the Imperium lie within the pages of this diary? Events so far in the past and so far in the future. Well, I cannot tell the whole truth, not even to you, my loyal Custodes. I can only say that the events on Molech and my work with artifacts from the dark age of technology are to blame. In my research, I have seen the events of many worlds and eras of countless galaxies, but I never knew what it was. The desire of the Materium to warp my mind, or simply childish fantasies and nightmares, and nothing more. Today I want to tell you about one such event. Well, the Eldari are a diverse and disparate people, and it is beyond anyone's power to understand the intricacies of it all. There are many breakaway cultures that survived the global cataclysm of the past. The most astute, who began to seek a haven for themselves even before the fall, are known as the Exodites. Closer to the time of the Dark Prince's birth, world ships that became life-saving arks sailed into the void. Many among them subsequently managed to survive the apotheosis of the nemesis of the Eldar race. Others have traveled the stars as corsairs, wanderers, and outcasts, or have made their home in the ominous Cumorah. Among them, the unbridled slave-owning Drukhari, the mysterious Harlequins defending the Black Library, and the young Inari who wish to restore their race to its former glory. Today I will tell you about the Eldar of the world ships, or, as they call themselves, the Asuryans. After the horrific cataclysm that spawned Slaanesh and the Eye of Terror, Eldar society has had to urgently adapt to a more terrifying and dangerous galaxy. Their central worlds have been destroyed. Most of the race was devoured by the terrible creature, and each Eldar that would perish in the future gave his soul to be eaten by the one that craved it. But the Eldar would not be one of the great races in space without a sufficient drive to survive. Even before the fall, the most astute of them had gathered followers and traveled to the farthest worlds of the Empire. The rest of their kind considered them fanatics who rejected the benefits of civilization in the name of asceticism and modesty. They were called Exodites, or exiles, and the bulk of the Eldar rushed to forget their disgraced brothers. Many Exodites perished during their migration. Even more perished from encounters with orcs and other warlike races of the galaxy. But they still achieved their goal and found a new home on the wild and extremely dangerous planets of the outer rim of space. For a race long weaned from hard work, it was difficult to adapt to life in the wild, but in time they relearned to hunt, build houses, make tools from primitive resources, and tame the wild creatures they called dragons. These lizard-like ancient reptiles of Terra are divided by their size and the dangers that come from them. The Exodites live in tribes, and all tribes are subject to the Supreme King or Queen of the planet. Tribal wars are rare, but there are still minor skirmishes between young warriors that can sometimes even end in death. The Exodites have learned to protect their souls from being consumed by Slaanesh. Each Exodite carries a soul stone, where their spirit is imprisoned after death. These stones are taken to an underground vault where they are broken in a special ritual. In this case, the soul moves into the so-called soul of the world, the heart of the planet. A similar mechanism has, and the Eldar of the worlds of the ships. The Exodites to this day live on their secluded worlds fighting off orcs, tyrannids, and even the forces of the Great Imperium. The rest of the Eldar have little contact with the exiles, but in times of need, they do come to the aid of their more savage kin. Just before the fall, the Eldar who had seen the light fled the decaying empire in huge ships, later called world ships. Many of them were caught in a wave of warp after Slaanesh was born, or destroyed. However, still most remained intact. Ship worlds are so huge that they contain entire cities and forests, as well as hundreds of thousands or even millions of inhabitants. Each ship contains the most important structure for the survival of the Eldar, the Endless Chain, in which the soul stones of the dead Eldar are placed to nourish the ships as their souls slowly dissolve into oblivion. The most famous are the 5 world ships. Ultway, a world ship caught in the distant orbit of the Eye of Terror and forced to patrol the ruins of their former homeworld forever. This world is the most skilled in battles against the spawn of chaos, and also the most adept at utilizing psychic powers thanks to its proximity to the greatest warp storm. On the other world ships, it is rumored that the Eldar of Ulthwé have been tainted by the power of the Eye of Terror and have thus cursed themselves. But despite this, they themselves consider themselves guardians, keeping eternal watch over the wreckage of their former empire. The Ulthwé provinces themselves use the boundless power of the Eye of Terror to enhance their psychic abilities. This helps them to foresee coming events with greater accuracy than the Eldar of other ship worlds. They use these abilities both to survive and to fight the forces of chaos that constantly emerge from the Eye of Terror. Of all the ship worlds, the Ulthwé are the most likely to intervene in the affairs and fate of other races if the situation calls for it. At first glance, it may seem that the Eldar go to unrelated, insignificant battles, but in fact, the results of these wars very much influence the fate of Ulthwé, and thanks to such unexpected appearances and raids, the Eldar of the world of Ulthwé ship got the reputation of unpredictable madmen. The truth about the causes of such raids is known only to the Eldar seers, for they know that it is better to stop one small pebble than to deal with a monstrous avalanche of consequences. The Imperium of Humanity, because of its vast territories and great influence in the galaxy, is a prime target for manipulation by the Eldar. For the Eldar clairvoyance, humans are expendable, which they gladly use to achieve goals for the good of their people. A similar opinion is held by the Eldar of the world ship Bieltan. However, this warlike and bitterness-absorbed nation is at war with the Xenos, not only with humans, but with absolutely all races except their brethren. The people of Bieltan have a goal: to revive the former Eldar Empire. They are making more efforts for this goal than others, because they believe that the new empire, washed in the blood of the Eldar and alien races, can only be revived from the crucible of war. Because of this, there are many times more exarchs on Bieltan than on other world ships, for the Eldar of Bieltan place the way of the warrior above other ways. According to their ideas, when the time comes for the revival of the former greatness of the Eldar, the planets of the departed will become a springboard for further conquests. The Eldar of this ship world are the reason of distrust from other races to the whole Eldar civilization. I know of cases when, because of their hatred of orcs, the Eldar of Bieltan came to the aid of Imperial forces. But after the complete extermination of the green-skinned, they at the same moment attacked the people who were their allies. Such widespread betrayal has created distrust in absolutely all the Eldar. And yet the people of Bieltan care little about this, for all this is done for the sake of reviving their former empire. The Eldar of the world ship Alaitok, like their brethren of Bieltan, also eschew any contact with the outside world. On board their world ship, there is complete strictness and adherence to the ways of the Eldar. However, not everyone can withstand the weight of strict discipline and still succumb to their thirst for adventure. Some deliberately try to do something wrong and be banished. Others look for loopholes and simply escape. But even though they are banished and flee, they remain loyal to their home, and when needed, return to defend their world ship. The problem is that such stragglers also bring a threat to their home. It was from the Star Travelers of Alaitok that the Imperium was able to obtain all the information known to date about the Eldar. Not without using motivational methods, of course. The ship world of Saimhan is considered to be willful and very warlike. By all accounts, the Eldar of this world ship were among the earliest to escape from the various planets in the run-up to the fall. The fierce warriors of Saimhan value honor more highly than their counterparts from other ship worlds, which is why other Eldar consider their customs barbaric. Their pride, on par with their legendary bravery, has led to frequent unjustified wars even with the Eldar of other world ships. Saimhan is famous for its famed wild riders. These are warriors who ride their fast jet bikes into the thick of battle. But best of all, They have proven themselves as excellent specialists in fast and lightning-fast raids. In addition to this, Wild Riders have a great deal of influence on Saimhana. In fact, all the warriors of the World Ship, and even the Seers, identify themselves as belonging to one of the clans of Wild Riders. The Eldar of Saimhana periodically organize ritual races, the purpose of which is to catch a dagger snake while it is being thrown. At the head of the army of Wild Riders are the Glittering Spears, a rare breed of aspect warriors of the Eldar. The largest numbers of these fearless lancers are found precisely on Saimhana. All residents of Saimhana are strict adherents of blood brotherhood, and they always try to pay all their debts. They even drink each other's blood from their slit wrists during the fraternization ceremony. However, such brotherhood both unites and creates additional problems in different situations. For example, during a war, each clan decides for itself whether it wants to participate in the war or not. Such decisions lead to various conflicts between the clans of Wild Riders, but the large-scale massacre usually does not reach. The conflict is limited by the fact that only clan champions participate in the battle. And although according to the rules, to win it is enough only to let the blood of the opponent, sometimes there are still fatal outcomes. It is because of this that the warriors of the world of the same Han ship are considered savages and barbarians by other Eldar. Yondan, a world ship that was once one of the most majestic ships of the Eldar. However, the vicissitudes of fate have pitted Yondan against a Tyranid tentacle fleet in which this ship was badly damaged. Much of it is now in ruins, and there are very few inhabitants left. The survivors have figured out how to make up for the losses, though. They possess the largest army of ghost constructs, psycho-bone robots, which are controlled by the souls of dead Eldar from soul stones inserted into the constructs. Separate from the rest are the Eldar Corsairs, exiles or the lost on the road, who have chosen the road of plunder and travel. Their entire lives are made up of raiding, stealing, and plundering the ships of other creatures, including humans. Rarely do Corsairs band together in large gangs, but there are entire space fleets commanded by princes or princesses, and that's a force to be reckoned with. The attack by the Tyranid Hive Fleet known as the Kraken sounded the funeral bell for the Yanden world ship. The world ship was too slow to avoid the Tyranid invasion, and so was nearly destroyed. Thousands of Yanden warriors had fallen in battle against the Great Devourer. At the very last moment, Yondan was saved from total destruction by the return of Prince Uriel and his grim raiders. The Corsair captain engaged the enemy in space, and after destroying the grotesque motherships, clashed with the Tyranids on the surface of Yondan. Despite the final victory, the world ship can hardly ever recover from its losses, and many of its seers believe that the Eldar of Yondan are on the brink of extinction. Also worth mentioning are the Harlequins and the Dark Eldar. But you can learn about that on other pages of my diary. Do not believe their appearance, for to humans the Eldar are as alien as terrible Tyranids or ferocious orcs. They are capricious and fickle, attacking without reason or warning. One should not try to understand them, because there is nothing to understand. They are a random force in the universe.